Welcome to the Great Work of Your Life interview series produced by Revealing Genius. Our guest today is all about restoring people's sight. His autobiography, From Darkness to Sight, has become a film co-starring Greg Kinnear. It is simply called Sight, and it is available at angel.com/sight. Our guest is a magna cum laude MD graduate of Harvard and MIT. He is one of the few laser eye surgeons in the world with a doctorate in laser physics. He holds 2 US patents for the amniotic membrane contact lens, which is what we're going to hear more about today. And it's being used by tens of thousands of eye doctors in nearly every nation throughout the world to restore the eyesight of millions of patients. Get this, as a teenager, he fought poverty and hardship in China and came to America with only $50 in his pocket. And the movie, which you'll see a trailer today, based on his book, is the first generation Chinese American immigrant film in American mainstream media. He has a foundation. It's called the Wang Foundation for Sight Restoration, and he offers surgeries free of charge to patients in more than 40 US states and 55 countries. He's from Nashville, and in 2016, he was named the Kiwanis Nashvillian of the Year for his lifelong dedication to helping blind orphan children from around the world. I'm super excited to welcome Dr. Ming Wang.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you to the honor to be on your show, Revealing Genius. Except I'm not a genius. I'm just an average guy.
I think a lot of folks might argue that, Dr. Wang. And I also wanted to, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for helping me kick off the launch of my YouTube channel. This is the very first one. So for folks who are listening, if you haven't already, hit the like button on this video and go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you can be notified of future episodes. So today, oh gosh, I can't wait to see the presentation. We're going to hear more from Dr. Wang about his story, and then we're going to go into an interview. And then if we have time, feel free to ask questions in the chat, and we'll go ahead and get to those too. So Dr. Wang, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you again. Today, we're all here in Mary's the YouTube channel launching program, Revealing Genius, in particular, branding, distinguish your brand. And I hope my presentation will be of some value to all of you and to really help us think how you can brand your work. First part is my presentation. Second part, it will be some Q&A between me and Mary, and you have a chance to share your thought as well. My presentation, the first part, is entitled Sight, a Purpose-Driven Life. On the screen, you see my address in Nashville, Tennessee, my email address, and also the website. If you have any question, in the chat room, our team has also put in the chat room my contact information as well. Tonight I have Vision Zoom. You have any question about the eye, you can contact me as well. So the screens here says the film Sight, which is streamed at angel.com/sight, tells the story of a Chinese immigrant who came to America for freedom and the faith, and have devoted his life to helping blind orphan children by developing a technology that has helped restore eyesight in millions. First, let me tell a little bit about my story, where I came from, how I arrived at this point in my life. I grew up in China during the time called Cultural Revolution. Believe it or not, for 10 years, from 1966 to 76, the government shut down all universities and colleges of entire China and forcefully deported every single high school graduate to some of the poorest part of the country and condemned each one of us a life sentence of hard labor and poverty. So for 10 years of Cultural Revolution, by shutting down all universities and colleges of entire China, they sent away to labor camp for life 20 million young people. 1974, I was 14. I finished my junior high. I was a straight A student because I studied really hard. My parents really want me to have a good future. But my grade did not matter. When I finished my 9th grade in 1974, I was going to be kicked out and I was going to be sent away to labor camp for life, just like 20 million others. In order to avoid this devastating fate of being sent away to labor camp for life, my parents found out that if I could play a music instrument, in this case a Chinese violin, erhu, E-R-H-U, and or I could dance. I can get into government song and dance troupe, therefore being able to stay in the city, avoid being sent away to labor camp. But that little plan did not work. I was still going to be sent away to labor camp for life. Then I got lucky. 1976 rolled around. The Cultural Revolution ended after 10 years, and the university and colleges were reopened for the first time in 10 years. As you see in the film site, my parents came home and they say, Ming, you might be able to go back to school. I thought I'd never be able to hear that in my lifetime. I said, when? They say, maybe tomorrow. I said, should I go back to 9th grade? Because 3 years ago, I was kicked out after 9th grade. In the last 3 years, I have not been studying. But my father said, no, you go back to school tomorrow, but jump straight ahead all the way to 12th and compete against other 12th graders for that less than 1% chance of getting to college that year. I said, why can I wait for 3 years? My mom said, no, you cannot wait. Do you know why my parents would not want to wait for me to wait for 3 years to go through 10th, 11th, 12th, study regularly, and then compete for college exam? But I should do something so almost inhumane possible, trying to get into college by jumping 3 years ahead and compete against other 12th graders right away for their 1% chance getting to college. Why they did not want me to wait? The reason is they were afraid that the government could change their mind again next year for another shutting down college for another 10 years. This has to do with my presentation today. You see, for people who never had freedom, when freedom even briefly came, they appreciate it. They want to take full advantage of it. So I had to do the impossible, as you see in the film side. I was very lucky. My parents helped me study really, really hard. So in 1977, I got into University of Science and Technology of China. And then studying laser physics. Then in 1982, with $50 borrowed from a visiting American professor, you see in the film side, I came to America. Even though I was nearly penniless, only $50, and only with an English-Chinese dictionary, even though I was poor, I was happy. Why? I had freedom. I got enrolled in University of Maryland for the PhD program in laser physics and finished that with a postdoctoral degree in laser physics at MIT. And it was during studying laser physics in graduate school, my old dream, my childhood dream of becoming a doctor reemerged. And I actually visited a professor in medical school and asked how to apply for med school. Actually, I was discriminated against. And the professor said, you have no chance, you're Chinese. So I was discriminated against because of my ethnicity. Fortunately, I worked even harder. So in 1987, after postdoc at MIT, I got enrolled at the MD program of Harvard-MIT Joint Program. And I finished with an MD degree, magna cum laude. In 1991, I invited my parents and my brother over because I was very grateful to my parents to have trained me and brought me up and educated me and helped me build my grit and determination to overcome challenges in life. So the film site has been dedicated to my parents. Why I got 2 doctorate degrees, 1 PhD degree in laser physics, 1 MD in medicine, is because medicine is so technologically advanced. Yet 99.999% of doctors, eye surgeons who only have medical training, MD, they never had a chance to get a PhD degree, in-depth training in the laser technology they use to do your eye surgery. So I want to be different. I want to be trained in both medicine and technology. So among the all the laser eye surgeons in the world today, I'm probably the only one who not only had an MD degree from Harvard and MIT, but also a PhD degree in laser physics. I have performed over 55,000 laser vision corrections now, including on over 4,000 doctors. 10 years ago, I wrote up my experience as an immigrant, came to America for freedom and faith in my autobiography, From Darkness to Sight, which then turned into a movie, Sight. Sight has won the Best Picture at the ICVM International Christian Film Award, and it's based on my autobiography, From Darkness to Sight, which you can get a copy by visiting our foundation, wangfoundation.com. All proceeds of my book are donated to the foundation. You can watch Sight today by streaming on the computer, anju.com/sight. So ladies and gentlemen, here's a 2-minute trailer of the movie Sight.
I'm going to help you see again.
You said it was impossible.
Ah, there he is, the good doctor.
You're going to be on the cover of the Tennessee Herald tomorrow morning. You may get a date out of this.
Not with that picture.
Very funny.
Our pro bono office got a call from India. A little girl, 6 years old.
Apparently, street beggars make more money if they're legitimately blind.
So the stepmother poured sulfuric acid in each of her eyes.
I'm going to help you see again, Kajal.
Is it true that multiple doctors declared your patient irreversibly blind?
Yes, I developed this new breakthrough technology. Here we go. Do you see the light?
No. I can't see anything.
I have this patient from India. She reminds me of some things in the past that I can't get over.
The present is made possible by the past.
A long time ago back in China, there was an uprising in my hometown. Many bad things happened.
So we came to America.
Yes.
It's hard getting into medical school, but you coming from China, don't waste your time.
You cannot change the past, Ming. I feel like I'm stuck.
Hello, doctor. This is Maria.
We want to give her a chance to see again.
I don't even know if I can perform surgery anymore. I left you.
Stop it. You need to just let go.
I just don't want Maria to end up like Kajal.
We can only do our best. I'm with you, Ming. We can do this.
I refuse to believe there is no purpose.
I will be praying for you.
Kajal is teaching me that there's more to life than what you see. We have to keep going.
Thought you said it was impossible.
Can you see yourself, Maria?
I'm so pretty.
So the film Sight was made and was distributed by Anju Studios. And after the film actually initially was made, it was actually rejected by all the Hollywood distributors, both online and offline, citing that the film does not have violence, sex, drugs, and those typical film that will achieve box office success. So I did not believe that. I think a film with the message of freedom and faith and the message of overcoming our polarization, finding common ground is what America needs the most today in a divided, polarized nation. So I took the film around the country free of charge and did a unprecedented film national tour. Over 365 days, I traveled to 40 states, 1 weekend per state. In each state, I put up 5 film free shows. So over 365 days, 1 year, telling our story film tour, I showed the film to 50,000 audience to inspire, encourage everyone to tell our stories and to be inspired to tell each one of your own stories, distinguish your brand, and tell people about your work. So that's why NG Studio in February 2024 stepped up and fortunately became the 11th distribution company that decided to say yes. Previous 10 all said no. It had a very successful United States domestic theatrical run of 7.2 million box office, and now it's on the streaming. You can watch film ng.com/site. And the tomato score is very high. It's like 98, 99%. So the film is made for our children, in particular, for children who are born in America, to let them experience a little bit the suffering, the stories of someone who were not born here, who have suffered, came to America for freedom. And it's a film for all of us as well, because if you live in a country like America, which always had freedom, we do, as human nature, take for granted. And the symptom of us taking for granted our freedom is how unwilling we as Americans today to work together, to love each other despite the difference, to overcome our polarization, and to find that common ground. So appreciating freedom and faith, appreciating our ability to overcome our polarization and find a common ground as Americans, once again, is the message of the film site. And so today I want to briefly tell you that what I have been developing, trying to figure out what is the purpose of my life. So I learned that there are 5 aspects. First is to share. I think as a human being who are fortunate enough to walk on this planet for a few decades, I learned that part of my purpose of life is to share what I have. I'll tell you 2 examples. One is because I remember I mentioned 99+% of doctors, surgeons who don't have the opportunity that I had to get trained, not only in medicine, but also in laser technology, to go and get a PhD degree in laser physics, as I did. So I want to share my laser knowledge. So I have published 10 textbooks in ophthalmology to teach all the surgeons around the world, the eye surgeons, to improve their weak area, which is technology. And another example of sharing is in the film site. You see that I've been fortunate to develop a technology to help blind orphan children called amniotic membrane contact lens. And I decided to share. I put a patent online and donated the technology to the world, and even travel around the world over a 20-year period to about 50-some countries and taught free of charge eye doctors from these countries, over 10,000 of them, how to use the technology. Today, amniotic membrane contact lens is a $5 billion industry worldwide, and eye doctors from nearly every nation are using it, and millions of patients have had eyesight restored. Even though I did not make any money myself, but that's an example. I feel that as a human being, we need to share, and I'm happy to see the lives of so many millions of patients have been transformed. To share. Second is to remember. We all have our past, cultural roots. And how do we not remember where we came from, but also embrace the present and future? As example, as you remember, I said I had to play the Chinese violin, erhu, E-R-H-U, during Cultural Revolution to escape labor camp. Now I decided to remember my cultural roots, but also to embrace the present and future here in America. So I picked up my Chinese violin once again, this time not for survival anymore, but out of my wish to remember my cultural heritage and also bring the best the East has to offer to the West. So to share and to remember. The third is to progress. I think all of us as human beings have the duty to do what we each of us can to advance human knowledge so that we can improve the quality of our lives. As an example, this is a picture of a blind orphan child that I encountered many years ago, who is the subject of the film Sight. Her name's Kajol, 5 years old. She was orphan already, and back in India, she was intentionally blinded by her own stepmother, who poured sulfuric acid into Kajol's eyes to try to make Kajol a blind orphan child who can sing on the streets, who therefore will get more monies from tourists. Kajol then was found to have no talent of singing. She couldn't sing. That's why she was abandoned. So our foundation found her in a train station near Calcutta, India, almost died from starvation, couldn't see, blind, 5 years old only. We brought her to America, and the film Sight is about Kajol's remarkable journey to try to come from darkness to light. When I saw Kajol, I saw this is her eyes, completely scarred. So I have committed myself to restoring Kajol's eyesight, to bring her out of darkness. So I start doing research, as you see in the film Sight. Then I realized that the only person who does not scar is an unborn child. So I really want to study the fetus, unborn child, so that I can find a way to help Kajol reduce her eye scar and restore her eyesight. But how can you do research on an unborn child without hurting the baby? Do science and faith have common ground? And that brings up the number 4 purpose that I have found for my life, is to find a common ground based on our shared humanity. Whether it's a common ground between black and white, common ground between Democrat and Republican parties, common ground between East and West, we as human beings, we have no choice but to try to find a common ground, because we have the shared humanity living on this little flying piece of rock called Earth. So I even established a Common Ground Network, a nonprofit organization to study methodology, how to find the common ground. And with Dr. Rice Brooks, we have established the Common Ground Seeking Steps, STEPS. S, seek the common ground. When you meet someone who has different opinions, if you're unwilling to see there's a common ground, you will never find it. T, trade places. Instead of speaking the language of the speaker, can we try speaking the language of the listener? I learned that from the experience being an eye doctor, because if I want to fix your eyes, I have to recognize that you're the number 1 authority on this planet about your eye problems, because you're the only person who are seeing through that pair of eyes of yours. So if I want to fix your eye problem, I have to trade places with you to see the world from your perspective, what you're seeing, what you're not seeing. E, empathy. When we meet someone who has different opinions, my fellow Americans, instead of yelling and shouting and demonizing the other side, can we instead try the SALT principle, S-A-L-T? Start a conversation, A, ask a question, L, listen, and then and only then talk. P, persevere, pay the price if the right thing to do, and finally, seek common ground, put into action. I myself am a Christian, and Jesus Christ is the one who inspired us to formulate this common ground seeking steps. He saw the common ground with us as human beings. He traded places with us by becoming one of us. He demonstrated empathy even to the people in the lowest rung of society. He paid the ultimate price by dying for our sin at the cross, and he saw the common ground with us as human beings. So I even wrote with Dr. Rice Brooks the Common Ground Bible Study. So coming back to the problem of science and faith in terms of restoring eyesight in Kajol, trying to figure out a way how to study the fetus, the magic of scarlet healing, but without damaging a fetal life. There is a common ground, I believe. So I persisted in my research. I did not give up. I persevered and prayed And eventually, me and other scientists working together, we realized that perhaps maybe we can study the piece of tissue called the amniotic membrane. Because each of us before birth will wrap around by this amniotic membrane, and at the time of birth, we lose that membrane protection. So maybe amniotic membrane is the tissue that gives us the secret of an unborn child who can heal without scar. So I went to hospitals, got lots of placentas donated by mother after giving birth to children. The placenta is discarded anyway. So I got this bloody placenta brought into the laboratory every night, studying peel the saran wrap thin membrane, amniotic membrane, that each of us used to be surrounded by before birth. And I start doing lots of research in the laboratory. And the long story short, I eventually invented the amniotic membrane contact lens. When we put this amniotic membrane contact lens onto injured patients' eyes, magic indeed happened. The scar is much reduced because eyeballs start healing as if it were not born yet, and eyesight is restored. I got the world's first 2 patents on this technology. As I mentioned earlier, I decided to share. So I donate the patent to the world. I put the patents online and went around the world over a 20-year period, taught eye doctors, over 10,000 eye doctors in over 50 countries, how to use the technology. They're teaching them free of charge. So today, amniotic membrane contact lens is a technology that's transformed the world today. Doctors from nearly every nation are using it. Millions of patients have eyesight restored. As I mentioned, it's a $5 billion industry now. But I'm happy that I shared, even though financially I did not make any money, but I feel as a human being, I lived out part of my purpose is to share. So as we get older, ladies and gentlemen, one of the main problems affecting all of us, our eye health, is dry eyes. A 90-year-old young lady has wet, supple skin. A 90-year-old older lady has dry, scaly skin. So this patient has dry eyes in her 70s, went to different medical centers, couldn't be helped. She couldn't see for many years, in pain all the time. We put the amniotic membrane contact lens on her, and she's very happy. So amniotic membrane contact lens story shows that science and faith can work together. There's a common ground. So finally, I want to tell you a little bit. I live in Nashville, Tennessee, the Music City, USA. And I have One Vision Institute. We have some of the best technologies in the world because of my dual training in MD and also a PhD in laser physics. And this is a research paper that I published as a first author in the world-renowned journal Nature. Also, I used to serve United States FDA ophthalmic device panel, the first Chinese Americans to serve in that post. And also, we have a training center for doctors from around the world. And this is a slide that we may not have too much time to talk about, and you can take a picture of it. And tonight, actually, we have Vision Zoom every Tuesday, 6:45 p.m. Central Time. ISVP, my own website. So as human beings, all of us, every one of us, audience that are tuning to Mary's program today, everyone is in our lifetime affected by 5 human eye prescription conditions: nearsightedness, farsightedness, astigmatism, presbyopia, reading difficulty after age 45, and the cataracts. Well, good news for you. In year 2024, we have conquered all 5, including the reading, using these 4 technologies. Left upper corner, SMILE, small incision LASIK. LASIK eye surgery is going out of date. It's now rapidly being replaced by better technology called SMILE. Low left corner, if you wear contact lenses and you don't want to have to remove it every night at bedtime, I've got technology to put the contact lens inside your eyes. You never need to remove it. Implantable contact lens. In the middle, if you're over age 45, you suffer what we used to call short arm syndrome because we couldn't fix it, reading trouble. And we have a technology can fix that. If you come in with short arm syndrome over age 45, I've got a technology can stretch your arms a little bit longer. No, just kidding. We actually have a technology called Forever Young lenses. There's one technology, Forever Young lens, can fix all 5 human eye conditions: nearsighted, farsightedness, astigmatism, presbyopia, and cataract. Finally, on the right is cataract. Cataract surgery can be performed with laser or blade. But despite the fact these 4 technologies on the screen are the best technology we have in the world today, but even in America, only 5% of laser eye surgeons are using it. 95% are still using the older blade technology. Why? That's because medicine is so technological driven, and the doctors are well trained in medicine, but they're still learning technology. But in contrast, at our center here in Nashville, Tennessee, we are using these top 4 technologies 100% of the time. But I want to teach other doctors. That's why I published these textbooks, to teach doctors their weak area, which is technology. And living in Nashville, Tennessee, I have my share of star patients, such as Dolly Parton, Ashley Judd, Nicole Kidman, others. And also, I am not forgotten. I came from China. I've been back China every year for many years, free of charge, taught Chinese eye doctors to improve the quality of care in China. I even performed China's first all-laser LASIK. And our patients here in Nashville, Tennessee came from all over the United States, from over 40 states, and from all over the world, from over 55 countries. Let's bring up to my last purpose, to help. I think as human beings, we all have the responsibility to help those who need the most help. In this case, that's why I built a foundation. In the film Sight, you see the patients, blind orphan children, we're being able to help, including Kajal. And our foundation has been helping patients from all over the world. Remember, I told you that during Cultural Revolution, I have to learn not only the music instrument, erhu, but also dance to escape labor camp, to survive. Now I combine my dancing skill with the medical charity and the invented concept called the eyeball. When it comes to eyeball, see the beautiful dancing that reminds you how precious our sight is as human beings and how much we need to help those who have lost sight. So our foundation has been helping patients, not only children, but also adults from all around the world. So finally, I also want to say that as an immigrant, we need to help America, not only just benefiting, but also help. I've established the Tennessee Immigrant and Minority Chamber of Commerce Business Group to help each other in business, but also pay back to help America, the country that we have found freedom and faith. As a Christian, I've been presenting at the churches on Sundays. My favorite topic, science and faith, God wants them to work together, as demonstrated by the amnia dismembering example. I think all Asian American immigrants need to stand up, fight for our rights, telling our stories. As Mary mentioned earlier, I've been very honored to receive the Nashvillian of the Year by Kiwanis Club a few years ago. And I also teach in local Christian university. My favorite topic, science and faith, have common ground. So in conclusion, today I talk about what I've been trying to do, a purpose-driven life. I realize that science is important, it's necessary, but these are only the tools. A faith, a purpose in life that give us the purpose what we're going to use the science for. And that's necessary and sufficient. Science is necessary and faith is sufficient condition. Combine the two, give us an opportunity for living an uplifting, purposeful life. And I wanted to tell you that if you're interested in my autobiography, you can visit wangfoundation.com, click the donate, and write a check $25 to Wang Foundation. All of my books proceeds donate foundation, so enable us to help more blind orphan children. So in summary, I present the purpose that I've been trying to do, a vision, a sight for life, to share our knowledge with others as human beings, to remember our roots and embrace the present and future, to progress human knowledge so that we improve the quality of lives, to find the common ground in a polarized, divided world based on our shared humanity. Finally, to help those who need the most help. So if you ask me, what is one inspiration, Dr. Wang, behind devising these 5 specific purposes? What is one idea, one inspiration behind it all? For me, there's just only one simple, unified inspiration. That is, as a human being, I feel very lucky to be able to live on this planet for a few decades. I want to do what I can as n equal to one human being, to help make the world a little better place to live. And I encourage everyone to see the film sightangel.com/site. And I want to thank Mary, the team, and congratulations launching Revealing Genius program, the YouTube channel, and it's about help you distinguish your brand. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Dr. Wang. Oh my gosh, that was better than I expected. And I don't know if you had a chance, but you're getting a lot of love in the chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone, for being here today for the launch of the YouTube channel. You'll see, Dr. Wang, that Jordan said that you are a genius in the world of sight. Patricia is going to be sharing the film with the UK and Pakistan, with organizations that she knows there. So thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. And I never shared this with you. After I saw your movie, at the end of your movie, you said something very powerful. And you said in your closing remarks that we are duty bound to share our stories, no matter where you come from or what you've had to overcome. We're duty bound to share our unique abilities. We're duty bound to get our name and brand out there, coming from the place of being able to help the world. And I think you are doing that. And I'm hoping that folks on the call are inspired to do that as well, because if no one knows about the amniotic membrane contact lens, then folks can't be helped. So that's what Revealing Genius is all about. Our most popular hashtag is hashtag brand on purpose. And that's what you're doing. And that's what we're hoping will inspire other folks, particularly on this call, to do as well. So with the remainder of our time, we want to dig a little bit deeper into your story. What an amazing story. It's fascinating how the actor who portrayed you in the movie looks just like you.
Yes, they did a worldwide search for Asian American talent, a gentleman to play me, and they say, Ming, what you want? I said 2 criteria. They say, what? I say, the person has to be young and good looking. They say, why? Has to be these 2 criteria. I say, well, it's a biopic film, has to be truthful, right?
I love it. Fantastic. Thank you. Well, we have a couple of questions for you, and we appreciate your candor in advance. These are questions from the Prowess Questionnaire, which is supposed to reveal the essence of your brand. So the first 2 questions go together, and they are, what gives you energy and what drains your energy?
Great question. Great question. You know, we do things as human beings. We have 3 things: why we do it, what we do, and how we do it. As an entrepreneur, as many of you in the audience today, you want to learn from Mary about, Revealing Genius program, how to distinguish your brand. Sometimes I found that we too much focus on what and how, what to do and how to do it. But we forgot that the why is actually more important than what and how. What drives me, give me the energy, is I keep on focusing on why I'm doing it. It is the why we have to keep on sharpening, identifying, and focusing, that it gives me the inspiration energy. So I will challenge all of you, when you are struggling, give me the challenges in your business and what you do, trying to figure out what to do and how to do it, return to the why. Ask yourself, what is it? Why is it you want to do this? By being more focused, more clear about why, in my case, in this case, these 5 specific purposes, then that's where I derive my energies. So refocusing on the why.
Couldn't agree more. And one of our signature offerings is a brand manifesto, where we actually help folks to excavate their purpose, their why, and their hows, which is a great lead into the next questions. These 2 go together. What do you love the most about your work, and what do you like the least?
Great question. I work all the time, and actually one of the questions I get from people all the time is, Ming, how many hours do you have? Because I practice medicine, I ballroom dance, I'm a championship ballroom, competition ballroom dancer, I play the Chinese instrument, and I involve all kinds of charities and devote myself for helping blind orphan children through our foundation. So people say, how many hours do you have? Do you have 48 hours? And my answer was often surprised people. I said, actually, sometimes I feel like 72, 96 hours. They say, how come? What I've learned is that in order to do what we do, once you're clear about your why, you have to identify ways to work it more efficiently. So I realized that I'm not the smartest person in all those wonderful schools I've been to, but I want to learn from the students who are smarter than me. So ever since age 17, I've been documenting, writing down anybody I work with who is smarter and done better job. And I summarized all these pearls into 77 事半功倍 pearls. In Chinese means spending half the time accomplishing double. So actually, I recently published a little booklet, Mary, called 事半功倍 77 Pearls. In fact, I would like to offer that any of your audience, that I'm all about sharing, if they're interested, they can send their name and mailing address to you, Mary, and then in one email, Mary can send all those name, mailing address to me. I will mail to them this little booklet. It's a tiny little booklet. You can make notes on the margins. And so my way is, after identifying the why, I figure out a way how to do things more efficiently. And finally, you may say, is there much room to improve for us to do things more efficiently, 事半功倍, as human being? Yes. I realize 90% of our human being is emotional. It's emotional elephant, as Jonathan Haidt said in his seminal book, The Righteous Mind. Only 10% is logical. So most of the things we do is irrational, impulsive. So if you identify that human nature and devise creative way to overcome that emotion irrationality, you can actually make yourself 10 times more efficient. And that's the point of the 事半功倍 little booklet, is trying to devise a way to do things more efficiently. And that's how I work. Once I know my purpose, I find a way to work much more efficiently by learning those pearls from other smarter people.
Brilliant. Thank you. I know I would love to have a copy of your pearls, and I think I speak for the folks who are listening right now. They would love a copy of those pearls as well. So we'll definitely make sure to expedite that. Here is a question that if I had 2 minutes with Dr. Wang, this is the question I would ask you. When did you realize you knew what the great work of your life would be?
I realized the value of my work actually would take less than 2 minutes. It would take like 1 second. In terms of why I realized the value, what is the value? Is in that 1 second moment when I remove the patch and someone come out of darkness into light. You saw in the film that when this blind orphan child, once we finally restore her eyesight, she was 15. She saw herself for the first time in her life, and she looked at the mirror. She said, "Oh, I'm so pretty." That is worth all my work over decades, countless number of nights, evenings, and weekends in the laboratory doing research, all the hard work. I live for that moment. So if you want to spend a little bit of time with me, I would just say, come spend just 2 seconds with me. I will take you to that special moment. Few of us will know someone who come out of darkness to light for the first time in their life, and fewer of us will even have the opportunity of being there for that special moment. That moment, helping someone come out of darkness into light, the most important sense of human being, the vision, is what I live for.
That's wonderful. And I know you know this, Dr. Wang. I had the privilege of serving as a keynote speaker for the Women in Ophthalmology Summer Symposium just recently, and I shared your trailer during that keynote speech, 2,000 surgeons there. And I had folks come up to me afterwards, and I think you need to hear this. I had folks come up to me afterwards and say, thank you for sharing that trailer, that moment when the patient said, "Oh my gosh, I can see I'm pretty." It moved them to tears, and it validated for them why they were pursuing becoming a surgeon. That it validated why they wanted to become an ophthalmologist. They said, "This is why I'm doing this." Yes. Students, fellows, longtime ophthalmologists, they really loved it. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Thank you for
sharing. So next question is, gosh, I'd actually like to interview your parents on this question. And the question is, my gosh, you've met Ronald Reagan. I mean, you've traveled all over the world. How do you define success?
Great question. I have realized many years ago, our definition of success as human beings based on emotion and irrationality is wrong. It's wrong. Because most of us define success by whatever I worked on, did it happen or not? Object outcome. I realized that the success should be defined entirely different. I completely changed my definition of success definition from objective outcome to subjective effort. So I start redefining my definition of success, not by whatever I worked on, did it happen or not, but whatever I worked on, did I do my best or not? I realized that I cannot control lots of time this objective outcome, lots of things that have to do with somebody else or some other condition I have no control, but I do have 100% control of my own effort. Here's the thing, very interesting. Once I completely redefine my definition of happiness from objective outcome to subjective effort, I found something magic happened. When I look back, something I've done, because I'm looking for my effort, did I do my best? And since I'm a human being, just like you and everybody, we all want to be happy as human being, I end up generating a positive loop. Then the next time I do something, I want to do better, exerting better effort, because I want to look back afterwards and be happy about it. So this positive loop keep on going. Before long, I realized that whatever I do, I always put forth my 100%, my effort, because I want to be happy looking back afterwards. So the short answer to your question is, we as human beings need to redefine our definition of happiness from objective outcome, whatever we're doing, is that it happen or not, which is not under our control most of the time, to subjective effort, which is under our control nearly all of the time. And if by redefine that, we can determine our happiness, because we can control and determine our own effort.
Fantastic. I wanted to give a shout out to the great Rebecca Munns, who is behind the scenes today, and she is the one that's dropping all of the great information into the chat. And Rebecca, I think we've got our soundbite from Dr. Wang. We need to redefine our definition of success. There's a conversation starter, wouldn't you say, for executive leaders, for sure. We have a couple of questions left, and one question we definitely want to hear about is your superpower. You ballroom dance, you're an inventor, you play the unique Chinese violin, the ERHU, you are a business owner, you're a surgeon. Gosh, where do you believe you spent 10,000 hours honing your superpower?
Great question. The book, Tilting Points or something, that talk about 10,000 hours. First of all, I do believe all of us, whatever we do, we have to spend at least 10,000 hours in that trade to be truly good. But what I realized that is necessary, but not sufficient to be able to truly do well. The necessary things you got to have put in 10,000 hours, but in order to be sufficient to build your life, to live a uplifting, fuller life, we have to have a purpose. What we're going to use all the skill we learn in 10,000 hours for. And I found that my ability to work things and on different fronts is I always focus on the purpose, always trying to ask myself why I'm doing this. Now, once purpose defined, that's not everything. It's only 50%. The other 50%, you have to find a way to be more efficient in what you do. As I mentioned earlier, I've realized I'm not the smartest. There are about 20% of kids that I went to Harvard, MIT, all these schools are smarter than me. So, but I decided to learn from them many years ago. So over my lifetime, I've documented 77 事半功倍, or spending half the time accomplishing double pearls. And I use these pearls nearly every day. And I can literally feel like I sometimes have 48, 72, or 96 hours because I avoid these inefficiencies due to human nature, our irrationality, our emotion impulsiveness. And that's not the most efficient way of doing things. By learning the mistakes I make, by learning from the pros, people who are more successful than me, we can increase our productivity and efficiency, not by 100%, 200%, by 1,000%, 10 times through 事半功倍. Oh, I will be, as I said, I will be happy to share. That's part of my purpose of life. So anyone who's interested, let Mary know your name and mailing address, and Mary will in one email send all that to me, and no charge, free. I will mail that little booklet to you. You can learn my pearls, but also you can also write down your own pearls. Actually, once a month, I forgot to mention, Mary, I do a Zoom online that talk about, each time I talk about a few pearls and tell people the stories behind those pearls and from whom I learned, what was the life failing experience that I had. Therefore, I learned these pearls. So everybody's welcome to the Zoom. Is next one once a month, October 16th, Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. I do that myself for friends. I have a big several hundred following about 事半功倍 now. So I'll send you that link, Mary, that all your folks are ready. And I can actually come to your show as well to talk about these pearls as well.
Absolutely. Yes. Consider that done and count me in on the 16th. I would love to participate in that roundtable. So I love this next question because you just never know what the answers are going to be. And the question is, what would people be surprised to know about you?
I think the things that people most find to be surprising about me, after learning that, I'm an eye surgeon, I went to these, good schools, tough schools. I fought through Cultural Revolution, China, came to America as a penniless immigrant. And I have 2 doctorate degrees and doing these wrist surgeries, writing these textbooks and inventions. They expect me to be a very left brain person. Oh, you must be a nerd, Ming. You must be very, very mathematical, logical. Many Asian folks are very, very good student and logical, mathematical, technological. But they always surprised to see how creative, musical I am and how artistic I am. And, ballroom dancing, music playing. I'm an author, and also I'm a champion ping pong player, and all these different things I do. And I wrote music, still writing music as well. So this is what I learned. We tend to shortchange ourselves as human beings. We think, oh, I'm left-brained, I couldn't do this artistic thing. Or I'm the right-brained, I'm creative, but I cannot do that science thing, mathematics. I think we're shortchanging ourselves, because if we change, just like change the definition of happiness, we entirely change the scenario by being willing to use your left brain to work on artistic things and use your right creative brain to use logical things. Then something fascinating will happen. So when I deal with left brain things like eye surgery, I use artistry. I'm trying to figure out not just technology, but also for this patient, the emotion. What does she or him do? What will make him or her happy? Then like art, for me, yeah, every eye surgery is like a piece of artwork. There's not only technology, but also creativeness, the emotional connection with my patient. But whenever I work on the creative things, such as ballroom dancing, I inject my left brain logical things, such as when I dance, I learn the physics of dancing, the mass, the acceleration, the angular momentum. So if you're willing to use your left brain, the logical brain, to do artistic things, using your creative side of the brain, the right brain, to do logical things, you'll find that you don't have to, just giving up yourself. Oh, I'm on left brain or right brain can only. No, you can combine the 2 brains, and you can left and brain work together and achieving 1 + 1 not equal to 2, 1 + 1 more than 2 effect. So people most of the times are surprised that I equally strong in the creative side, because I intentionally using the creative to do the logic and use the logical brain to do the creative, creating 1 + 1 more than 2 effect.
I love it. And I was surprised and delighted to hear in Albert Einstein's autobiography, he wrote that he came up with the theory of relativity while while he was playing the violin. And he added he wasn't playing it very well, by the way. So that makes a lot of sense. So we're just a couple minutes until the top of the hour. If folks have any questions, feel free to drop them into the chat. If we don't get to them, we can certainly follow up with you for sure. Dr. Wang has been very generous with his time. We have one more question for you. This is the bonus question. This is the legacy question, and it goes like this. If a higher power, and we'll put that in air quotes, as you talked about, because faith is very important to you. If a higher power would let you do, be, have, see anything, and there were no limits, what would that look like?
Great question. Before I answer that question, the last question, I want to thank you again, Mary. I believe what you're doing in terms of revealing geniuses. I'm not a genius, but I've learned a thing or two in life I'm happy to share today. Also helping your audience to distinguish their brand, to communicate what they work to the world. Without communication, people will not know. And I also want to just mention, if anybody interested in film, it's at ngu.com/site. And also, if anybody interested in the Vision Zoom, I have one every Tuesday, 6:45 Central Time. You can visit drmingwang.com, which has the RSVP information for the Zoom. And finally, if anyone interested in helping the foundation so we can help more blind orphan children, you can visit wangfoundation.com and hit the donate button, $25, write a check to Wang Foundation, and I will mail a signed copy of the book of the autobiography based on which the film is made to you. Finally, as a free offer to all of Mary's audience, if you're interested in my little booklet, 事半功倍, How to Spend Half the Time Accomplishing Double, let Mary know your name and also mailing address. And Mary, if you don't mind, just send one email to me with all the names and addresses, and my office will mail free of charge everyone little booklet, and welcome everyone to October 16, Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. the Zoom Central Time that I go through these. Every month I do a Zoom to go through, tell the stories behind each of these pros so that it can inspire you to learn and also build your own 事半功倍 pros as well. So finally, your question, state the question again.
The question is this. We call it the bonus legacy question. If a higher power would let you do, be, have, see anything without any limits, no financial limitations, no geographical limitations, no mindset limitations, what would that be?
It would be this. As a human being, among all the senses you have, think about it. Speaking, hearing, touching, smelling. What is one sense when that is gone? It is the most devastating. And for many of us, we'll say it's vision. So if God gave me the opportunity that I could do unlimited resources and energy and time to do, I want to do one thing. I want to help those who are living in darkness to come on the darkness into light, because I believe every human being has the right to see.
Thank you, Dr. Wang. This has been better than expected. Thank you, everyone, for being on the call. This is the very first Revealing Genius YouTube live launch. Really appreciate everyone being here. Round of applause, virtual applause for Dr. Wang. We appreciate you. We'll be talking certainly going forward. And folks, I see there's quite a few folks that are looking to request some of your pearls of wisdom. We'll be sure to get that to you. Thank you, everyone, for being here on the Revealing Genius YouTube live launch. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you.